When you work with someone like Steve McQueen, who is essentially an artist, I mean that's his background, that's where he comes from. So the references that that you work with tend to be art, and we talk about you know, he usually gives me something to look at, and then we look at a lot of films together. For example, Korean films, and also well the Boy with the Red Balloon, the modern remake of that, and looking at, you know, just a broad reference, and a lot of it is very sort of tangential. It's not, doesn't deal directly with what we've done with the film itself, but it sort of informs ideas. And a lot of it is I've worked with Steve for 10 years, and I've shot a lot of his art installation work as well. So we have developed over that time a very strong relationship. And a lot of what we did on Shame was informed by the films we've done before. And, you know, Hunger was always a reference to us as well, as primarily it was interesting because we didn't want it to be hunger, and it was never going to be hunger, but we were always very conscious that people were going to compare it to hunger. So, you know, it sort of reached a point where we said we just have to forget hunger. But we couldn't in some ways. So, you know, it's hard to say. There are no specific things. But when you know, I think the beauty of Steve is his openness to ideas and collaboration, and his decisiveness. When he sees something, he knows what is right, and he holds on to it, and he explores it, and he plays with it. And it's very satisfying, not only for myself, but also the other heads of department, because we all get to you know, take part. It becomes an interesting technical issue, and you try to get lost in the technical, and also just get lost into the emotion of the scene itself. And you know, the scene is not there to titillate. It's not there to excite. It's actually the horror on his face at the end of it. The pain is just amazing. And you know, I'm very lucky to have worked with Michael again since Hunger. I think he is an astounding actor. He is completely brave, and he finds things that, you know, are just remarkable. And like you're saying, his control of his body, of his emotions, of his face, of everything, is absolute. And it's a real pleasure, because I operate as well, so I'm the first person who sees it. And it's a real, I can feel the hair turning up on the back of my neck when he starts to turn on his, you know, when he starts to be Michael. And it's just, you know, a fantastic thing to be party to. On Shame, we actually, you know, I hate to say it, but we had quite a good time. It was quite relatively easy. I think there's always the logistics of filmmaking in Manhattan, and working on, you know, we worked on the 32nd floor, which is Michael's apartment, and up on the top of the Standard Hotel. It's a lot of real locations. And, you know, you've got the weather against you, particularly it was a brutally cold winter. So I can't say there was a specific, you know, difficulty that we had to fight to overcome. I think that a beautiful shot for the sake of a beautiful shot is only a beautiful shot, but a beautiful shot that can express the emotion, the you know, in some way push the characters on or push the story on. It has much more to it, and the cinematography is there to do that. It's not there so that people will look at it and say, oh, that Sean Bobbitt is a great cinematographer. It's there that people walk out of that film and it has touched them in some way, whether they love it or they hate it. It has done something emotionally to them, and I think if that's the case, then, you know, you've succeeded. Well, like I say, working with Steve, I've actually done a number of art installations with him, and it's changed me as a cinematographer doing that. Because when you're working on an art project, you don't have a linear narrative. There's not a storyline. There is the most astounding and wonderful freedom to find images. And I think it becomes art when it is taken by someone like Steve and transformed from simple pictures into something that transcends that, into something that again engenders a pure emotional response. And I think I've been incredibly lucky and privileged to work with Steve and to actually create bona fide works of art. We talk about cinema as art, and of course there is the art in cinema and cinematography, but to actually have, created a work of art is a very different and a very wonderful. Well, I don't think you can take any of the parts away from any others. I think you want it to be a coherent whole world. You want the audience to be lost in that world. You want the actors to feel safe in that world so that they can give the performance. Yeah, and so there are a lot of things, and that's the beauty of cinematography. It's not just, oh, I can put a light up and make it look nice. There's a lot more to it.